The golden glow of the setting sun bathed the little countryside town in warmth, and every corner hummed with anticipation. Tomorrow was to be Maria's wedding day, the maid with the soft eyes and gentle hands, who had served the wealthy Kensington family for years. Everyone adored her. She wasn't just the bride-to-be, she was the girl who helped carry groceries for the old widow down the lane, who stayed up late mending clothes for neighbors without charging a coin. Her small cottage was alive with laughter that afternoon, as friends and relatives hung garlands, ironed her dress, and prepared trays of sweets. The silky white gown, carefully stitched by her own hands, hung by the window, catching the last rays of daylight. But as night fell, the joyful chatter gave way to silence. A neighbor, coming to drop off fresh flowers, found the door slightly ajar. Inside, the bridal dress swayed gently on its hanger, untouched. The cake sat on the table, half frosted. On the neatly made bed lay a single piece of paper, no tears, no smudges, just 3 haunting words written in her familiar, delicate script, "I'm sorry." By the time her fiancé and the neighbors gathered, Maria was gone. No one had seen her leave, no carriage had passed on the dirt road. Panic rippled through the town. Whispers began, had she been afraid? Had someone taken her? Or had something far deeper driven her to vanish on the eve of the happiest day of her life? The answers lay hidden with Maria. The search began before dawn, lanterns flickering against the pale mist that clung to the hills. Maria's fiancé, Daniel, led the way, his face pale and eyes rimmed with sleepless worry. Neighbors scoured the meadows, the old stone bridge, and even the edge of the forest where the early morning fog made the air feel heavy with dread. The Kensington family, for whom Maria had worked for nearly a decade, stood stunned in the grand hallway of their estate, unable to piece together why their most loyal maid would vanish without a word. Whispers traveled quickly through the town. Some claimed they saw a shadowy figure walking toward the train station the night before. Others swore they heard hushed voices near the edge of the property. Daniel clung to the note, reading it over and over, searching for meaning in those 2 simple words, "I'm sorry." It wasn't like Maria to run from anything, not from hardship, not from her responsibilities, and certainly not from him. By mid-morning, the local constable arrived, questioning anyone who might have seen her. The old baker, who had known Maria since she was a child, shook his head with tears in his eyes. She was happy, he insisted. If she left, she had a reason, and it wasn't fear of the wedding. And yet, that unshakable question lingered in every heart. If not fear, then what? What secret was powerful enough to make Maria vanish in the dark, leaving behind her dreams, her love, and the life she had been building? 2 days passed with no sign of Maria, and the town's hope began to fade. Then, just as the sun was setting on the 3rd evening, Daniel heard hurried footsteps outside his small cottage. He opened the door to find Mrs. Kensington, the lady of the estate, holding a sealed envelope. Her face was pale, her voice trembling as she said, This came for you." Inside was a single letter in Maria's familiar handwriting. It wasn't an explanation, it was a request. "Daniel," it read, "do not look for me. I will return when I can. Please trust that this is for the good of someone who needs me more than you do right now." Confused and desperate for answers, Daniel rushed to the Kensington estate. There, he overheard Mr. Kensington speaking in hushed tones with a stranger in the study. The words, "debt, danger," and "the child" drifted into the hallway. His heart pounded as he pieced together fragments of the conversation. Later that night, one of the younger maids, Annie, found Daniel in the garden and whispered, "Maria left with a man who came in a black carriage. She didn't look scared, just determined. She told me not to cry, that she was doing the right thing." The mystery deepened. If Maria wasn't running from something, then she was running toward something. But what could be so urgent, so life-changing, that she would sacrifice her wedding, her home, and the love she had waited years to marry? A week later, a traveling merchant passed through town with news that made Daniel's blood run cold. In a nearby city, a young orphan had been found gravely ill in the slums, and a mysterious woman had paid for his treatment in full, selling a family heirloom in the process. Daniel felt an instinct deep in his chest. That woman had to be Maria. Without hesitation, he borrowed a horse and rode through the night to the city. The streets were dark and crowded, the air thick with the smell of smoke and desperation. He searched hospitals and shelters until, in a dimly lit ward, he finally saw her. Maria sat by a frail boy's bedside, gently spooning soup to his lips. Her hair was untidy, her dress simple, but her eyes shone with that same calm kindness he had always loved. She looked up and froze when she saw him. "Daniel," she whispered, guilt and relief mingling in her voice. "You weren't supposed to find me." He stepped closer, his voice trembling. "Why? Why leave me like that?" Maria explained in quiet, halting words. The boy was her late sister's son, hidden away after his father fell into debt with dangerous men. When Maria learned the truth, she couldn't let him suffer alone. She had sold her dowry and disappeared to save him, knowing it meant breaking Daniel's heart. In that moment, Daniel understood. It wasn't abandonment. It was sacrifice, the kind only the purest love could make. Daniel stood there for a long moment, torn between the ache of losing the wedding they had dreamed of and the overwhelming pride swelling in his chest. Slowly, he stepped forward, resting a gentle hand on Maria's shoulder. "You think I could ever love you less for this?" he said softly. "You've shown me what true love really is, not just between us, but for anyone in need." Maria's eyes filled with tears, her voice trembling. "I didn't want you to choose between me and the life you deserve. I thought, letting you go was the kindest thing." Daniel knelt beside the boy's bed. "Then let's choose together. We'll raise him, both of us. We'll build the life we planned, just with one more heart in it." Maria's lips parted in shock, then curved into the first real smile he'd seen since before she vanished. The boy, weak but awake, looked at them both with wide, uncertain eyes. For the first time in weeks, hope flickered in them. As dawn broke through the ward's small window, the three of them sat together in the pale golden light, no longer just two lovers, but a family bound by something deeper than vows. When they returned to their village weeks later, they didn't arrive for a wedding but for a homecoming. And though Maria never wore the bridal dress she left behind, Daniel always said she wore something far more beautiful that day, a heart brave enough to give everything for love.